On Christmas morning, Ellie noticed something strange. Her cats, Rusty and Tilly, had been meowing and scratching at the old barn door since dawn. After opening her presents, she tugged on her pink pajamas, pulled on her winter coat, and stepped outside into the snow to follow them. "Where are you going?" she called as her breath clouded in the air. Snow crunched under her boots as she crossed the yard. From the kitchen window, her mother watched with a smile, warmed by her daughter's love for her pets. Rusty paused now and then, glancing back to make sure Ellie was still behind him. Tilly, always the bolder of the two, darted ahead and slipped through the gap between the barn doors. When Ellie reached the entrance, both cats had vanished inside. "Mom!" Ellie called, turning toward the house. "I'm just checking on the cats in the barn." Her mother waved back, and Ellie pushed open the heavy sliding door. The barn was warmer than outside, the air filled with the scent of hay and old wood. Sunlight streamed through dusty windows, illuminating golden beams where tiny dust motes floated. "Rusty? Tilly?" she called. A soft meow echoed from the far corner. She stepped carefully across the wooden floor, her eyes adjusting to the dim light. The cats sat side by side near an old tool storage area. Their tails swayed in unison, and they stared intently at a spot on the floor. Rusty stood up and began pawing at a board, while Tilly meowed insistently. Ellie knelt down, brushing away straw. The board Rusty scratched at had a small, old metal ring embedded in it. Curious, she pulled it. The board lifted with ease, revealing a hidden space beneath the floor. Inside was a wooden box, dusty but beautifully carved with floral designs. Ellie sat back on her heels and placed the box in her lap. The cats crowded close, purring as if they'd been waiting for this moment. The rusty brass latch clicked open with a snap. Inside lay a leather-bound diary, a small velvet pouch, and a stack of old black-and-white photographs. The diary cover read, "Private Thoughts of Clara Whitmore, September 1st, 1943. 1943, Ellie whispered, gently touching the delicate handwriting. Her heart fluttered. History was her favorite subject. She opened to a random page. November 14th, 1943. Winter came early. Father says it's bad luck. Mother says she likes the silence it brings. Milo and Amber stayed with me today while I wrote. Milo lies on my diary like he's guarding it. Amber curls up near my feet, purring. I drew them again. I think I'm getting better at capturing Milo's orange fur and Amber's mottled coat. Ellie gasped. She flipped the page and found a sketch of two cats. One tall, orange, and alert. The other relaxed and multicolored. They looked exactly like Rusty and Tilly. She looked down. The cats sat beside her, their eyes gleaming. "Milo and Amber," she whispered. Rusty, or maybe Milo, blinked slowly at her. Tilly purred, curling against her side. Among the photographs was one of a young girl sitting on the porch of Ellie's own house, though it looked newer in the picture. On her lap was a cat that could have been Tilly's twin. An orange cat like Rusty stood beside her. On the back was written, "Me with Milo and Amber. Summer, 1944. Ellie flipped through more pages of the diary, learning about Clara's life during World War II. Her father working at a factory, her mother planting a victory garden, and the comfort of her two cats, who always stayed close. But something else stood out. March 3rd, 1944. I read Tennyson's poems today. When I got to The Lady of Shalott, Milo put his paw on the page, as if asking for more. I now read my diary to them, too. Milo always sits on the page I finish. It's like he's protecting my thoughts. Ellie looked at Rusty. He had moved on to the diary, sitting squarely on the page she'd just read. A chill ran through her. She opened the velvet pouch. Inside was a silver locket on a delicate chain. One side held a tiny photo of Clara. The other, two tufts of fur, one orange, one multicolored, sealed behind glass. The back read, CW. Suddenly, the barn door creaked open. "Ellie?" her mother called. "Grandma Rose just got here for Christmas lunch." Ellie quickly returned everything to the box, except for the diary and locket, which she hid inside her coat. The cats trailed her as she closed the secret compartment. Back in the house, Grandma Rose was setting gifts beneath the tree. At 78, she moved slowly, but her eyes sparkled with warmth. She hugged Ellie tightly. "Merry Christmas, my darling girl." Ellie couldn't wait. After settling down with hot cocoa, she ran to get the diary and locket. "Grandma Rose, I found something in the barn," she said, placing the diary on the table. Rusty and Tilly led me to it. Rose's hands trembled as she reached for the diary. "Where did you find this?" she asked, her voice unsteady. "Under a floorboard. The diary belonged to Clara Whitmore. She lived here during World War II. Rose's eyes welled with tears. "Clara," she whispered. "She was my sister." Ellie's mother looked stunned. "Your sister? You never told me you had a sister." Rose nodded. "She died young. Pneumonia in 1947. We packed away her things. It was too painful to speak of her." She opened the diary gently. She adored those cats, Milo and Amber. Rose looked down at Rusty and Tilly. "But how can they look exactly the same?" "Maybe they're their descendants," Ellie offered. "But I think they remember her." She handed Rose the locket. "My gift to her," Rose whispered, "for her 14th birthday." She opened it. Her breath caught at the sight of the fur. She said Milo sat on her diary pages, like Rusty is doing now. Ellie smiled. "And Tilly listens when I read, just like Amber did." Rose touched the cover. "Read something," she whispered. Ellie began. April 15th, 1944. "I've decided Milo and Amber are not ordinary cats. They understand too much. Mother says cats are ancient creatures who walk between worlds. I believe it. I told them I want to be a writer. They looked into my eyes like they understood. I've been writing a story about a girl whose cats help her find lost treasures. Not gold, but memories." As Ellie read, Rusty placed his paw on the page. Tilly purred loudly, brushing against her. In the final diary entry, Clara wrote with fading strength, "If someone finds these words, I hope they know I lived and loved. I dreamed of a girl with sandy blonde hair. I showed her my hiding place. She promised to care for my cats. Can dreams reach across time?" Rose cried silently. "She dreamed of you, Ellie." She knew. That evening, Ellie started her own diary. Inspired by Clara's, Rusty and Tilly led her to more forgotten treasures. A porcelain doll, a button, a letter, each one tying Clara's past to Ellie's present. One spring day, Rose brought Ellie a wrapped package. Inside was a poetry book. On the first page, Clara Whitmore, and beneath it, The Lady of Shalott. Ellie opened to the poem. Pressed inside was a dried forget-me-not, and a note in Clara's handwriting. "For whoever finds this, my cats will guide you. Words live forever. Don't forget me." As Ellie read, Rusty placed his paw on the final lines. "They remember," Ellie said softly. "They've been waiting." That summer, Ellie began combining Clara's diary with her own, creating a book titled The Secret Keepers. She finished it on what would have been Clara's 95th birthday, and that night, as Ellie wrote by the window, she looked at Rusty and Tilly sleeping at her feet. She touched Clara's locket and whispered, "Thank you for remembering." The cats blinked slowly, their eyes filled with something ancient and knowing. In the morning, they were waiting beside her new journal, ready to continue the story. If this magical journey through time and memory touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that remind us some bonds, no matter how long ago they began, are never truly forgotten.